पीछे से कितने भक्तों को हिंदी चाहिए? हिंदी हिंदी
Very few are in Hindi, no? Then I'll speak in English. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Shodhanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Munatira Vanachari Munatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Tai Gaura Hari. जय श्री श्री राधा माधव की, श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की, श्री श्री गौर निताय की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की, समावेत गौर भक्त वृंद की, कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्-भागवतम की। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च। श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you for the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class. We are reciting from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, second canto, 9th chapter, text number 40. It is here? Yeah. प्रजापतिर्धर्मपतिर् एकदा नियमान् यमान् भद्रं प्रजानाम् अन्विच्छन् आतिष्ठत् स्वार्थकाम्यया प्रजापतिर्धर्मपतिर् एकदा नियमान् यमान् भद्रं प्रजानाम् अन्विच्छन् आतिष्ठत् स्वार्थकाम्यया प्रजापतिर्धर्मपतिर् एकदा नियमान् यमान् भद्रं प्रजानाम् अन्विच्छन् आतिष्ठत् स्वार्थकाम्यया. प्रजापतिर्धर्मपतिर् एकदा नियमान् यमान् भद्रं प्रजानाम् अन्विच्छन् आतिष्ठत् स्वार्थकाम्यया. प्रजापतिर्धर्मपतिर् एकदा नियमान् यमान् भद्रं प्रजानाम् अन्विच्छन् आतिष्ठत् स्वार्थकाम्यया. एकदा नियमान् यमान् भद्रं प्रजानाम् अन्विच्छन् आतिष्ठत् स्वार्थकाम्यया. Mataji's प्रजापतिर्धर्मपतिर् एकदा नियमान् यमान् भद्रं प्रजानाम् अन्विच्छन् आतिष्ठत् स्वार्थकाम्यया. Prajapatiः, the forefather of all living entities. Dharmapatiः, the father of religious life. Ekada, once upon a time. Niyaman, rules and regulations. Yaman, principles of control. Bhadram, welfare. Prajanam, of the living beings. Anvichan, desiring. Atishtat, situated. Swartha, own interest. Kamyaya, so desiring. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Thus, once upon a time, the forefather of living entities and the father of religiousness, Lord Brahma, situated himself in acts of regulative principles, desiring self-interest for the welfare of all living entities. Purport: one cannot be situated in an exalted position without having undertaken a regulative life of rules and regulations. An unrestricted life of sense gratification is animal life. And Lord Brahma, in order to teach all concerned within the jurisdiction of his generations, taught the same principles of sense control for executing higher duties. He desired the welfare of all as servants of God, and anyone desiring the welfare of the members of his family and generations must conduct a moral, religious life. The highest life of moral principles is to become a devotee of the Lord. Because a pure devotee of the Lord has all the good qualities of the Lord. On the other hand, one who is not a devotee of the Lord, however qualified he may be in the mundane sense of the term, cannot be qualified with any good quality worthy of the name. The pure devotee of the Lord, the pure devotees of the Lord, like Brahma and persons in the chain of disciplic succession, do not do anything to instruct their subordinates without acting accordingly themselves. So, very important verse, many vital things Prabhupada is speaking here. Prajapati is the forefather of all living entities, Brahma. And he is also Dharmapati. He is not just an authority or a leader. He is also a religious leader, moral leader, spiritual leader, like Srila Prabhupada. He is the founder Acharya of ISKCON society, and he is also a spiritual personality. He is instituting both moral and spiritual principles within the society. So Brahma was given such a role. So here it is said that Ekada once Niyaman Yaman, the regulative principles, he gave that Upadesh to his followers, but before offering that Upadesha, so he was himself practicing those regulative principles which are called Achara. So Acharana is more important than Upadesha, because Acharana is actually exemplifying what we teach to others. So he himself lived as a Dharmapati, father of religious principles. And then he also taught Niyam means restraint. Yam. Yam means restraint. Niyam means positive prescribed duties. So both were taught by him. Just like we say in the Ashtanga Yoga, Yama are the first 5 items. Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha, Yamaha. And then Shaucha, Santosha, Swadhyaya, Japa, Ishvara Pranidhani, Niyamaha. So the Yama Niyama are given as the first 2 rules in the Ashtanga Yoga. So Ahimsa means non-violence, Satya, speaking truthfully, Asteya, not stealing others' property or not stealing credit that is due for others, and Brahmacharya means celibacy, and then Aparigraha means not accumulating too much material goods which may be distracting to spiritual life. And then these are all the restraints. And what are the 5 positive prescribed duties? Shaucha, cleanliness, Santosha, satisfaction, contentment, Swadhyaya, study of the scriptures, Japa, the chanting, and Ishvara Pranidhani, developing a mental disposition of Sharanagati to the Lord. So this 5 plus 5, 10 are the Yama and Yama. Now what is the need for this Yama and Yama before one takes to the spiritual practices like chanting the holy name or worshipping the deity or even deeper study of the scriptures and all those things, or going out in the world and rendering service by distributing this knowledge. Prior to that, the Yama and Niyama are very important, because without following the regulative principles, for us these 10 items Prabhupada gave in a very simple manner based on the Shrimat Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam it is said, Abhyartidastada tasmai sthanani kalaye dadau dyutam panam striya suna yatra adharmas chaturvidaha. 4 places are the residing places of Kali. Dyutam, Panam, Striya, Suna. Illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication and gambling. So Prabhupada said, these 4 things if one avoids, 50% of your problems are solved. If you follow this 4 regulative principles. If we don't indulge in illicit activities, like a man and woman should not connect before marriage, or one should not go for any extramarital relationships. Within marriage, one should utilize sex life for begetting children. So if one follows this, then a person is called clean. Then one should avoid fish, meat and eggs. By avoiding this, we are merciful to the other creatures. That is mercy. So cleanliness, mercy. Then avoiding intoxication like smoking, drinking, drugs, all those things loosely. One doesn't allow senses to loosely act. Then it is called austerity. And no gambling. I mean, gambling, there is also speaking lies, cheating, looting and everything. Then one becomes truthful by avoiding gambling. So these are 4 items: mercy, austerity, truthfulness and cleanliness. So these are given in every dharma, every religion you will find. Any religion you take, they talk about this. Maybe to different degrees they talk about it. Like some religions say, don't touch meat at all. Other religions may say, okay, you can take meat in a restricted way. Like I heard in Quran it is said that one can only accept halal, not haram. And halal means you buy an animal, say you buy an animal at 80,000 rupees you buy. Cut it into, you should not kill it anywhere in a machine or anything. You should not strangle it. You should not beat it. But you should take it to the mosque and there you cut one particular nerve. When you cut that nerve, the animal faints and then it bleeds out. After it bleeds out, it loses consciousness, loses the body. After it dies, you wash it and then cut it into 8 parts. And you have to offer 7 parts in charity. Only 1 part you can eat. You can imagine? That is called halal actually, according to Quran. So which means if 7/8 of that creature you have to give away, that means 70,000 worth you have to give away for eating 10,000 worth food. Which means, is it not restricting? Correct, no? Like here we say no meat eating. They are also saying similar thing. If you want to lawfully eat. So this restriction is there. In the same manner, we say matravat paradareshu. One should treat every woman other than one's wife as a mother. Every religion talks about that. Like amongst the 10 commandments given to Moses on the stone, engraved in the stone, one of the commandments says, do not covet another man's wife. That's one of the 10 commandments. They are said there. Similarly, in Quran also you find, it says one should not deal improperly with mother's sister or father's sister or father's brother's wife or father's brother's daughter, and like that 10, 15 items are given. Here it's plainly said, matravat paradareshu, that's all. Other than your wife, one should treat all other women as mothers. So in this way, all the religions, they talk about these 4 principles. There is restriction put in this. So now by following these 4 regulative principles, what do you gain? Actually following these rules and regulations is the foundation of sattva. It is the very basis of sattva guna. If one wants to increase the sattva guna, one should follow the 4 regulative principles strictly. And by this, by following the 4 regulative principles, the purity of the heart increases. Clarity of mind also increases. Then one gets the focus on the goal. But if one doesn't follow the regulative principles, one's mind is clouded and indecisive and confused, and one lacks the purity to make the right choices, and one loses the focus. One sees multiple goals in life. Bahushakahi anantascha buddhayo avyavasayana. To have a vyavasayatmika buddhi, we need purity and clarity. So for that we need sattva, and the sattva is increased by the following up for relative principles. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhava ki, Shri Jagannath Subhadra Maharani ki, Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Jai. Not only that, if we don't follow the regulative principles strictly, then we become very fragile in the presence of Maya. Like for example, the students nowadays who relax in watching things on the screen, you will find one thing is to watch dirty things. Another thing is to keep on scrolling for hours and hours. Then our senses become weak and we become very vulnerable to Maya. Very fragile, very weak-minded. It's called as Sthula Dhiyo. The word is used, Tarantyanja Sthula Dhiyo. It comes in 11th canto. Sthula Dhi means intelligence. Sthula Dhi means gross intelligence. One does not have fine intelligence. We need fine intelligence to understand spiritual subject. But if one is going to indulge the senses in sense gratification, one becomes dull-headed. One becomes almost like an animal, like a two-legged animal, as we say. So, sense gratification is for the animals. Sense control is for the humans. So, when human beings practice sense control, they have to withdraw the senses like the tortoise, which withdraws the limbs, and then it cannot be attacked by the leopard or by the tiger or anything like that. It can withdraw itself. But if we indulge the senses loosely, liberally, casually, carelessly, then our senses become blunt and our senses actually make us almost like animal. We become very instinctively driven. The instinctively driven living entity has no control. One is subjected to tamoguna, and one is pulled and slapped and kicked and punched and buried practically by Maya. The three gunas, especially the lower guna, the two lower gunas, Rajaguna and Tamaguna. But if one follows regulative principles, one will not be easily vulnerable to Maya. Why? Because when we have the focus in spiritual life and clarity of knowledge, clarity on what is right, what is wrong and everything, then we have the power of discrimination. Then we will be cautious of Maya. By regularly following the regulative principles, we become more careful of Maya and we will not be vulnerable. And also those people who don't follow regulative principles, they become sahajyaik also. Sahajyaik means what? Sahaja means saral, easy. Sahajyaik means they take the path of bhakti very cheaply. They don't take it seriously. Like for example, they chant Hare Krishna also. They watch cinema movies also, they sing cinema songs also. Yeah. Similarly, they will say, I'm chanting 16 rounds, and they'll wear tilak also, and then they are roaming with boys and girls roaming together and doing nonsense also. Sahajya. Sahajya means there is no purity. They take bhakti path very cheaply. Prabhupada gives example, there are fellows who left everything and went to Vrindavan to become Goswamis. There are people like that. But after going to Vrindavan, they fell down with widows there. And next life they become monkeys, dogs and, pigs in Vrindavan, at least for 1 or 2 lifetimes, Prabhupada says, because of misusing their freedom. Because these fellows thought, I'll go to Vrindavan and become a pure devotee or I'll become popular or whatever. But then they fell down with somebody there because of sahajya behavior. So bhakti should not be taken cheaply. So, to develop sincerity and seriousness in bhakti, one should follow niyam and yam, restraint and the positive prescribed duties. So, the restraint I talked till now, I told you about the 4 regulative principles. And what are the positive prescribed duties? Like rising early in the morning, attending all the artis, chanting of the holy name, and attending the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class, discussing all these things. Now what happens if one performs these prescribed duties nicely? That's where one gets the power, one gets the strength, then one has the weight to instruct others. So the personal sadhana is a seed of influence. If you want to influence others, no matter how much you yell at others or shout at others, they are not going to follow. Unless our sadhana is very well grounded and we are getting some spiritual nourishment and strength ourselves, that can only influence other people. So, yes, we want to transform the world, but without our sadhana being strong, it will only be a mechanical application of rules on others. Mechanical application of rules will lead to difficulty for both. For the person who is instructing, it's painful that they are not following. For the person who doesn't want to follow, it is painful. So both suffer. Whereas the person, he is just like it is said, Sanatana Goswami told Haridas Thakur, some people speak well but they don't follow. Some people preach well but they don't have sadachar. And some people have good sadachar but they are very good devotees themselves but they don't preach. But Haridas Thakur, what are you doing? You are doing both very expertly. You are practicing also and you are preaching also. Therefore you are spiritual master of the whole world. Like that Sanatana Goswami told Haridas Thakur. So Haridas Thakur is like a role model for both practice and preaching. He combines them very powerfully. So if one wants the spiritual strength to instruct others, then one has to focus on one's own sadhana well. Sadhana includes the morning program, the chanting, hearing the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, attending all the aratis very faithfully, sincerely, with absorption. Then that kind of practice will, it produces an authentic aura in the devotee, by which devotee's instruction will be taken seriously by the other people. So without authentication, we don't have any strength to instruct others. And you will see, all the acharyas down the line have done that. Take Brahma, Brahma gave it to Narada, Narada gave it to Vyasa. Like that it's coming down in the disciplic line. Afterwards, Vyasa gave it to Sukadeva Goswami, Sukadeva Goswami gave it to Pariksit. The line is continuing. All the acharyas down the line have set a very high class role model for us to follow. And you will see in our line, if somebody did not follow the regulative principles strictly, they became fragile to Maya. At one point of time, Brahma himself created one Vagdevi to whom he was allured for a moment, after which the Hamsavatara came and instructed him, stopped him. So this is a warning call for all of us that if big personalities like even Brahma can become vulnerable by a little slackening in sadhana, what to speak of us? We are tiny creatures in this world. By casual or careless practice, we can also become very vulnerable to Maya. So those who don't want to be vulnerable, they have to be very attentive to this ekada, niyaman, yaman, following of the regulations and rules one should follow. And then he is saying, he is Dharmapatir. Dharmapati means the father of religious life. Everybody coming in Guru Parampara, if we want to preach and do some good to the world, first we have to be Dharmapati also. We have to ourselves adopt a life of not only morality, but also spirituality. Now some people say, is it not enough to be just be a moral person? How is it different in being a spiritual person? It's like a difference between earth and sky. There is a verse in the Bhagavatam which says, Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvai gunais tatra samasate sura harava bhaktasya kuto mahad guna manoratena sati davato bahir. This verse says that if one is the devotee of the Lord, all the qualities of the devatas will reside in that person's body. And on the other hand, if somebody is not a devotee, even though they may have good qualities like patience or tolerance or kindness and gentleness and all that, without being devotee of Lord Hari, those qualities will evaporate. They will not remain forever in a person. For that matter, even a sales boy is very humble. A sales boy always smiles at you, shakes hands with you and very humble, because his so-called display of humility is for emptying your pocket. Yes, that's not true humility. But a devotee's sublime qualities are all for Krishna's pleasure. So, and they are born of bhakti. Seeing Krishna's greatness, the devotee feels humble. Seeing Krishna's tolerance, the devotee becomes influenced by that tolerance. It brushes devotee also. Lord is so tolerant, I should be a little tolerant at least. Lord is so patient. So, patiently waiting for us. Like one devotee was telling, we went to a temple in South India, Kulashekara's village. So on the ground floor we saw the Lord was standing. First floor he was sitting. The third floor he was lying down. So I asked the Pujari, why is it so? He said, the Lord comes in this world to take us back to Godhead. It's like a man who has given you a loan, comes and stands at your door, and you are still not paying him back. So he sits down. If you still don't pay him, he lies down. Okay, whenever you give, I'll go. So Lord is waiting. Okay, better come with me. When you are coming, then only I can take you back to Godhead. Lord is very patient. Seeing his patience, then we cultivate patience also. And Lord is very tolerant also. The jiva is very naughty, having one's own plan for enjoying. Lord is very, very patient. Lord doesn't neglect us. It is said, Namo Alayaya. It is said, Namo Alayaya means he is very attentive. Even when you are asleep, he is attentive, watching us. If we show us little signal that I am interested in the Lord, immediately he is ready to reciprocate. Just like one signal was shown by Ajamila, Narayana! Like that he called, not the Lord. He called whom? His son. And that Lord took it as a signal. What? You are calling me? I'll send my servants immediately. He may say, no, I didn't call you, you are your servants. Nevertheless, Lord told the servants, give him benefit of doubt. Go there. Maybe he's calling me. Correct, no? So, just like, for example, imagine, you are waiting for the passport office, there are 300 people waiting outside. One fellow comes out to call the next candidate. Everybody is waiting. Did you call me? Did you call me? Isn't it? Because people want to finish the job quickly. Imagine he called your name, but in the same name there are 4 people, all 4 will come running, correct, no? Isn't it? If somebody calls our name, we are very attentive. So, where does that come from? It comes from the Lord. If somebody calls his name, he becomes very attentive. And immediately Lord paid attention to Ajamila, you can see that. So, we develop good qualities by associating with the Lord's devotees and Lord's pastimes. So, it's a very important thing that acharana is more important than upadesha. Upadesha is wonderful, but it will fall in deaf ears if people see there is a clear difference between acharana and upadesha. If people may say that, hey, this fellow talks big things, but he doesn't follow this in his life, they will say. Because people watch and learn more things than listening to what we speak. So that's where the challenge comes for all preachers. So we may be very enthusiastic to tell people what you should be doing. They will ask us, what are you doing? So in that connection, we can check time to time. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says every Ekadashi to Ekadashi we can check. For example, how is my sadhana going on, chanting? Is the quality of chanting improving? In quantity and quality, how is it? How is my Shastric study? Am I learning some nice things from the Shastra which is really touching my heart and transforming me? In the last 15 days, did I learn something to implement in my life? And how is my dealings with other fellow devotees? The last 2 weeks, how it was? Was it in Sattva-guna or was it in Rajoguna or Tamoguna? Tamoguna means destructive thoughts, malicious thoughts. Rajoguna means angry thoughts, greedy thoughts. And Sattva-guna means peaceful and friendly and complimenting devotees and cooperating and that kind of thoughts. So we can watch how is my dealing with devotees last 2 weeks. How is my service attitude in the services that I am rendering? Am I boastful and proud that I did a great service? or am I humble? And am I giving credit to Guru and Krishna, or am I grabbing the credit myself? And while rendering service, was I a good team player, or I am quarreling with other devotees? So in this way, in service area, in sadhana area, in swadhyaya area, in our morning program performance, and all these things we can take a survey of how our life is going on and how we can improve our spiritual life. So that means setting example is in every aspect, in sadhana aspect, in swadhyaya aspect, in dealing aspect, in every aspect, because more things are caught than taught, it is said. People catch by watching. Then, like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like a role model for all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And he teaches an amazing example in every respect. In whether it be sadachar, like he wants all of us to study Bhagavatam. So what he does? He goes to Tota Gopinath and sits with Gadadhar Pandit along with Nityananda and Rup Sanatan, everybody. And Mahaprabhu is listening to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Now somebody may think, oh, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Mahaprabhu is listening. Maybe he is listening Yugala Gita or Gopi Gita or Pancharasadhyay because he is Radharani. He has come with Radha's bhav. So everybody may say, I also want to listen to Bhagavatam, directly go to 10th canto. No. I heard that Mahaprabhu heard this Dhruva Katha and Prahlad Katha 100 times. Can you imagine? Speak it again, he would say like that. After completing Dhruva Katha, again he would tell Gadadhar to continue reading again. Because Dhruva Maharaj's pastime teaches us to cleanse the heart, purify the heart. And Prahlad Maharaj's Katha teaches us to be determined in our devotional service and be one-pointed in Ananya Bhakti and perform spiritual practice without any motivation. We can learn these things from Prahlad. So in this way, with complete faith in the Lord, Prahlad teaches that. So Mahaprabhu heard those pastimes, so that he will set example for us. Similarly, daily morning he would get up and go to the temple of Jagannath and stand near the Garuda Stambha and take darshan. And then he would accept the prasad and bring it to Haridas Thakur. So why does he go to Haridas Thakur's place and meet Haridas Thakur and Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and spend some time with them to teach us how devotees should learn the art of Priti Lakshanam. Kuhyam Akyati Prichati, and do Priti Lakshanam with devotees. Sometimes we become buried in our own service. We have no time for other devotees. We get completely covered over by too many things to do. Everybody is into their own smartphone or into their own laptops. They have no time with other devotees. So Mahaprabhu teaches, go to Siddha Bakul and spend some time with devotees, discussing Krishna Katha with them, exchanging affection with them. Then Mahaprabhu is also chanting, almost from morning 6 to 1 o'clock or so. He goes to, you will see him in the ocean beach. It is mentioned how Mahaprabhu is sitting there and chanting continuously, 2 lakh names. Someday 1 lakh, someday 2 lakhs names he would chant. So how important is chanting japa? So he has a big japa mala also. Mahaprabhu used to chant, absorbed in chanting. When he went to Vrindavan, too many people invited him for prasad to their homes, too many Brahmins. And Mahaprabhu would tell his assistant, Vallabhadra Bhattacharya, see, don't send these people to me, you do the organization. And Vallabhadra Bhattacharya saw that the number of invitations were overwhelming. He told Mahaprabhu, oh, if you are going to be here, my head is spinning. He said, let us go to some place where you can peacefully chant. So then he took Mahaprabhu to one place called Akrur Tirth in Vrindavan. It's a very serene setting and other people won't disturb him for prasad. And he fixed one place for taking prasad, and then he would chant practically 6-8 hours a day. He was chanting Mahaprabhu. So in this way he was absorbed in chanting. Then every day evening you will read in that Beda Kirtan pastime chapter in the Madhya Lila. Mahaprabhu would do 3 hours Sankirtan every day. The devotees. So it's a very beautiful description of how he did Sankirtan. He arranged for the mridangams and kartals and devotees and dancers and everything. With all the devotees he would do Sankirtan. And so taking prasadam also, Jagannath Prasad with all the devotees he would take prasad. So taking prasad with devotees, performing Sankirtan with devotees, hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam with devotees, meeting devotees and having Priti Lakshanam with devotees, and giving importance to chanting. So he is our role model. Lord Chaitanya is a spotless personality. Srila Prabhupada said in his books, the Krishna consciousness movement was originally started by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says. And Prabhupada said, I am just following in his footsteps. And Prabhupada also set a very good example. When they went to Kumbh Mela, it was chill water in the morning. Prabhupada saw that all devotees are looking at the Ganga and they are trembling. Oh, water is very cold. Should we take 3-drop bath or a proper bath? So Prabhupada didn't speak a word. He immediately went along with his servant and he started taking water and putting on his head, chill water on his body. Immediately he didn't have to say anything. All devotees came running and everybody started taking bath. See, the example is so powerful, you don't have to speak a word. That's why there's a saying in English, your actions speak so loud that I cannot hear what you say. Correct, no? Similarly, Prabhupada used to take the attendance book in USA, in some of the temples, and he would check the attendance, who has come late, who has come on time, and he would ask the devotees, why you didn't come for Mangalarti today? He would ask. Even in morning walk, he asked, where is Brahmananda? I don't see him now. Somebody said, Prabhupada is sick. Prabhupada said, is really sick? Sure? He asked. So Prabhupada was always looking for attendance of the devotees in the morning program, in the Bhagavatam classes. One day in Vrindavan he was sitting, giving a class. There were very few devotees sitting in the front. Prabhupada asked, where are the devotees? Somebody said, Prabhupada, sorry Prabhupada, they all are doing services. Prabhupada said, we can employ people to do services, but we cannot employ people to sit down and hear Bhagavatam. That who can hear? Only devotees can hear. Get all the devotees here, he said. Then they brought the devotees. So Prabhupada taught the importance of coming together and hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, attending aartis, being punctual in doing things, and also taking responsibility. In Vrindavan temple, Prabhupada went to the guest house, to his quarters. He opened the tap, air was coming. Prabhupada asked, call the manager. Manager came. What is this? Where is water? Oh, Prabhupada, I had told the devotee to put on the motor. Then he called another devotee. And that devotee said, I have told another devotee. So 6 devotees were standing. All of them, one showing hand to the other like this. The Prabhupada said, see, if I tell you a service, the onus of getting that service is on you. You cannot show hand to the other people. You can get it done from somebody, but who is responsible? You are responsible. So Prabhupada taught how to be responsible, that means we should be punctual, we should be responsible, we should attend the programs, we should hear the Bhagavatam, everything by example. He himself showed. He himself sat down when some of his disciples were speaking. He would sit down and hear and see how they are speaking. Are they properly representing the parampara? He was observing that. So these are things which he has given us, and we have to follow these things. That is why Prajapatir Dharmapatir. Dharmapati means he is not only a forefather of all living entities, but also father of religious life. Nowadays, many mother, father, they may be Prajapati. They produce a baby, boy or a girl, but they themselves don't have any religion. They don't follow anything. The children also will not follow. But if the father and mother, they follow, then the child has something to learn from them. Just like Gaur Mohan Day, isn't it? Morning he would do Arati at home. At that time, Abhay and Bhavatarini, brother and sister, they would be in the bed, they would hear the bell, ding dong, they would hear. They would jump up from the bed, go and take a bath and see father is doing Arati, they would come and join. There are many devotees, even in ISKCON, they come and ask, Prabhuji, please make my son a brahmachari in the temple. Small kid. They bring and say, I would say, he's such a small boy, let him grow first. After he becomes 20, 25, we will see. So they want their children to be like Prahalad or Dhruva or Narada or somebody like that. But I asked them, are you conducting Arati in your home daily morning? No, Prabhuji, we are going for a job, where is time? Are you chanting? Yes, Prabhuji, we are trying to chant 6-8 rounds in the morning. I said, first repair that. If you do Arati If you do 16 rounds chanting nicely and then you go to office, evening do some preaching, book distribution, then your home itself will make your children into great devotees. Huh? Because Prabhupada said in Bombay, I want 5,000 temples in Bombay, once he said. Devotee said, Prabhupada, one rajarsi temple is so difficult to build, how will we make 5,000 temples? Prabhupada said, every home can be a temple, he said. Huh? That was his vision. Yeah. For a child, mother and father are the first guru for the child, before the child is sent to any spiritual master. So, in this way, when we talk about example, it is not only monks have to set examples, parents can set examples, teachers can set example by their behavior, by their conduct, by their study, by their attendance in the morning program, everything. So, that is a dharmapatir. Because if you are a moral person, you may live a very proper life in this world and you die, you don't know where are you going. But if you are a devotional person, your ultimate goal is clearly fixed. You go back to Godhead. And also a moral person can buckle when sometimes the situations are unfavorable. But a spiritual person will never bend. One who, because he knows God is watching at every moment. So people, therefore it is said morality is absence of opportunity, it is said. When the opportunity prevails, opportunity presents itself, people give up morality also. Whereas if one is rooted in spirituality, one will never fail. That is why one has to be a dharmapati also. So prajapatir, dharmapatir, jekada, niyaman, yaman, bhadram prajanam anvichan. He wanted to do the most auspicious thing for all the praja. He is contemplating. That means we should not think only about ourselves. We should also think about the world around us, how people are suffering. Just like we say personal values, interpersonal values, and then social values also. Now social values include, for example, in the Vedic life, the kings would build big temples, and they would also arrange for the protection of the cows. They would also arrange for protection of the Brahmanas who are teaching the Vedas. They would arrange for the protection of the women and the children. So the king has a very great duty. So the duty of the Brahmana teachers or Vaishnava teachers is to educate the king. The king has to be given, therefore the kings are called rajarsi. Rajarsi means, Raja means rajas. He is driven by passion, but when he meets a rishi, then his behavior becomes tempered by good association, saintly association. Then the Rajas, Rajaguna can be given direction, it can be given guidance. Just like water, if it is going like a flood here, there, flood can do no good. But if you put it in a dam, then the dam can give it direction. So, like the parents, teachers and saintly persons, they are like the ones who put the dam. Then the flood like Rajas can be given direction. So in this way, the duty of saintly persons is not just to sit inside a cottage and do your own bhajan and your own paving way for going back to Godhead, but bhadram prajanam anvichan. One should feel sympathy for the suffering praja and distribute Krishna consciousness. So, but one very important thing is it should be compassion blended with discipline. That only will do great good in the world. For example, the parents, generally they love their children very much, but the children have to be disciplined to go to school. If you don't discipline them, they will take parents very lightly. Like Dhritarashtra was not disciplining Duryodhana. See what happened. Because of no discipline, this fellow became degraded. Duryodhana became degraded and the whole dynasty was finished. Look at Uttanapad. His 5-year-old son is going to forest and he is not stopping him. He is not correcting his beautiful wife Suruchi. So that goes to show neglectful parents. Overly lenient parents. So neglectful parents like Uttanapad or overly lenient parents like Dhritarashtra, they can't do great good. On the contrary, look at Rishabhadev. He is calling all his sons for a class and making them sit and teaching them Rishabhadev's teachings for 100 sons, correct, no? He is instructing them. Look at Suniti, the ideal mother. She is calling Dhruva and giving a suitable instruction to go to Lord Vishnu and attain perfection of life. So we need parents like Suniti or Rishabhadev, people like that. So, because they contemplated on welfare of others. Bhadram prajanam anvichan. This is the mindset of any Vaishnava. Prayena deva munayasva vimukti kaman maunam charanti vijanena pararthanishtha naitan vihaya kripanan vimumokshayeko nanyam tvadasya sharanam brahmato nupashyet. Prahlad is telling, my dear Lord, there are many sages living in Himalayas, in the midst of the ice. They want to get their own moksha, liberation. But I don't want to be like them, he says. I want to preach in the society and send many, many souls back home, back to Godhead. Then I will also come at last. I am lamenting for those who are suffering in this world, he said. So Vaishnava's heart pains to see the suffering souls. So he administers them Krishna consciousness in a very intelligent way. For example, Prabhupada, he had this ISKCON bullets. Who knows what is ISKCON bullet? Gulab Jamun. Yeah. And then Prabhupada said, bombs. Which are ISKCON bombs? Works. Drop the bombs in the laps of the conditioned soul, they will jump up and wake up. Isn't it? So Prabhupada called ISKCON bombs, he said. So ISKCON bullets is the Gulab Jamun. So these two are very powerful. ISKCON bullets and ISKCON bombs. These two are very powerful. So through these two things, when you put the books, they get enlightened. When you give the ISKCON bullets, they will never be able to leave Krishna's lotus feet. Because Prabhupada would make a big jar of Gulab Jamun and keep it at the entrance. So some fellows came, they chanted for a few days, they thought after 1 week, 2 weeks, oh, now I want to smoke cigarette, drink liquor. So they were about to leave. When they would go near the door, they would see the Gulab Jamun. And they would say, this is too good to give up. Then they would come back again. And then they would stay back. They would continue. So and then they would again eat Gulab Jamun and they stay happily with devotees. Eventually they overcame the lower natures, like that. So in this way, and at the same time, Prabhupada was watchful. He was very compassionate like a father. Once Prabhupada carried a big bundle of cloth in a trunk. And the American devotees, when they opened the trunk, they saw that and they cut it into several dhotis and saris and everything. They all wore the same saffron dress. Mataji's, Prabhuji's, everybody wore the same dress. You'll see the same type of saffron dress everybody wore. So Prabhupada was carrying the cloth for his disciples. Another time he carried a big ball of chandan, this one, tilak. So everybody can make that tilak. In those days, our movement was in the starting stage. He personally carried, very compassionate. He personally cooked with his hands, fed them prasad, personally taught them every small thing. He taught them the importance of brushing the teeth daily and taking bath daily, keeping oneself clean, everything he taught. Apart from direct Krishna consciousness, he taught all those things. Very compassionate, but very strict and disciplined. When he instituted the 4 regulative principles, there was one Mr. Goldsmith. He told Prabhupada, Swamiji, instead of 4 principles, can you make it 3? He asked. Prabhupada said, why? He said, this no illicit sex you are saying, in America your movement cannot be popular if you make this principle. Because there is a lot of men and women free mixing, he said. Prabhupada said, I have not come here to please the Americans, he said. I have to speak the truth as taught in the Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam says, Dyutam panam striyasuna yatra adharmaschatruvida. So when it came to instituting the pure principles, he was uncompromising. That we should learn from Prabhupada. So it's called as compassion blended with discipline. Then only you can do Bhadram Prajanam Anvichan. Otherwise you cannot do Bhadram. Overly lenient parents cannot produce good example children. Similarly, overly rigid parents like Hiranyakashipu towards Prahlad, such parents also cannot do any good. Therefore people like Rishabhadev or like Suniti I was telling you, they are wonderful parents. So parent should know the art of disciplining the children, at the same time knowing where to give lenience. in what aspects to be strict, in which aspects to be lenient. Prabhupada was lenient in prasadam, and Prabhupada was lenient in letting devotees come up with creative ideas to engage in varieties of services. Although he would supervise, he empowered them so much by sending them to different places to preach and expand. He was very lenient and liberal, and he trusted them and invested responsibilities in them, isn't it? At the same time, he said, in discipline he was uncompromising. So then only you can produce good quality devotees in this world. So any place where we want to produce a good ashram or a good community, people should follow a very disciplined lifestyle. And then only the quality will be preserved, maintained, protected, and then it will lead to a progressive life. Purity and progressive life, all these are results of disciplined compassion. Atishtat swartha kamyaya, he says. So swartha kamya means nate vidus swartha gatim hi Vishnum, it is said. The real swartha, the soulish we can say, instead of selfish we can say soulish. The benefit of the soul is to keep Krishna in the center. So Brahma himself knew that unless the living entities keep Krishna in the center of their life, they can never be happy. Everything they do, they have to keep Krishna in the center. So he himself lived life like that. For him, everything came from Lord Vishnu for him. Knowledge was given by Vishnu. Guidance was given by Vishnu. Protection was given by Vishnu. Same thing he taught to the Praja also. Keep God don't keep God behind you. Keep Him right in the front of you. And revolve around Him. Revolve around His instructions, His teachings, His orders, His pleasure. Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. If you do Haritoshan, you don't have to separately do Manatoshanam, Indriyatoshanam and all, you don't have to do. Do only Haritoshanam, he taught. So a very beautiful verse, lot of lessons for us, for our daily life, which we are learning from Brahma, coming down the line in Guru Parampara through Srila Prabhupada and his disciples. Srila Prabhupada ki. So I exceeded the time now. I can take 5 minutes questions. Anybody? Yes, Prabhu. You want this mic only?
Harish, thank you for a very nice class. You said, Prabhupada said they should attend Bhagavatam class, all the devotees. Sometimes in the morning time, we go for
book distribution.
Bhagavatam installation, sometimes for raising funds, temple.
Then in that place you can hear the class. If you are going for Bhagavatam, it's not that Bhagavatam you have to hear in the temple hall only. Sometimes you go for Bhagavatam installation, somebody's house, whichever senior devotee is giving there, you can hear that. Even in Pune, sometimes we send teams for book distribution at 7 o'clock also, in the morning, to schools and other places. So then we make a policy that before the end of the day, you have to hear that Bhagavatam class recording or whatever. Correct, no? So we can hear while moving in the car also we can hear on those days. Correct, no? Basically the principle is Nityam Bhagavata Sevya. Otherwise it gets piled up, we never get to hear. If we don't hear daily. Like we don't eat prasad daily. Correct, no? We sleep daily. Correct, no? If we are doing these things daily, why not hearing Bhagavatam daily? Correct, no? We brush our teeth daily. We bathe daily. Similarly, chant daily. Hear Bhagavatam daily. Correct, no? We can make these daily activities. Similarly, Prabhupada book reading daily. Yeah. It's clear?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Sri Prabhupada ki. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. Thank you very much.
Grace Radheshyam Prabhuji ki.
Srila Prabhupada ki. So you all had a nice birthday party, huh?